armies of protesters rallying for gender equality across the country. Attorney General Christian Porter launches legal action against the ABC over historical rape allegations. Mystery surrounds the hotel quarantine infection in the heart of Sydney. Investigators baffled by the new COVID infection. Coward punched from behind. Labor leader Jodie McKay comes out swinging after union bosses leaked dismal new polling numbers. Two of the world's biggest stars burn brightest. All the action from the Grammys with women taking centre stage. And the runaway driver, the T-bone crash, and the have-a-go hero in his undies. How this all unfolded in Lanier. This is 10 News First Sydney with Sandra Sullivan. Good evening. Today we saw what felt like a turning point in Australian history. Thousands upon thousands of people speaking with one voice, calling for an end to violence against women. They were led by Brittany Higgins, the woman who was allegedly raped inside a minister's office in Parliament House. She, with a shaking voice and extraordinary courage, sent a message that echoed around the country. Tegan George begins our coverage.
The woman whose pain and courage lit a fire in millions. Wearing suffragette white, Brittany Higgins went back to where her story began, Parliament House in Canberra.
Well, to those powerful men and women, I'm here to tell you, Brittany Higgins will not be silenced.
She had planned for the project host, Lisa Wilkinson, to read out her speech, but in front of thousands.
Miss Brittany Higgins.
No more being silent or silenced.
But if it can happen in Parliament House, it can truly happen anywhere. I watched as the Prime Minister of Australia publicly apologised to me through the media, while privately his team actively discredited and undermined my loved ones.
There were huge cheers as politicians from all parties and their staff streamed out onto the lawn to join them.
But we can't let our little girls live the same way that we've lived and put up with the same crap that we've put up with. So, yeah, for all the little girls, that's why we're here.
Women and men travelling from around the country to be a part of history.
Watch me grow, see me standing toe to toe as I spread my love and love.
I'm here with my mum to support women in the workplace.
It's been years of this. And if people in power can get away with things like that, what is that saying to our Australian men?
For the thousands of faces in the crowd, this was the one people most wanted to see. Unfortunately, Prime Minister Scott Morrison was a no-show.
I think Scott Morrison would be asked to step down, actually. He should tell to go along.
He did invite a delegation to a private meeting with him and Marise Payne, the Minister for Women.
World leaders coming to this building to take up that opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister. The fact that we've been invited is really, really exciting. Please grasp the nettle and take that opportunity.
But on behalf of the crowd outside, organiser Janine Hendry politely said no.
He needs to read the room. We are here because he hasn't read the room, because he hasn't been willing to listen to the voices of women. So at this point in time, no, I won't be meeting the Prime Minister.
She did, however, meet the Deputy Prime Minister by chance in the corridors.
So when you tell me that you're willing to look at it, I'm going to tell you I want some action.
Okay.
And the women of Australia want some action. We're drawing a line in the sand right here, right now.
Okay. All right.
You'll give me that assurance?
Well, I'm certain that we'll absolutely look at it. I can't give you the assurance.
Not exactly confidence building, unlike the scenes outside.
By embracing legislative reform that enabled survivors of sexual abuse to have a voice and be heard, we started it here.
Tegan George for 10 News First.
And the dramatic scenes weren't limited to the nation's capital. In every corner of the country, from the west coast to here in the east, from the beaches and the bush to the streets of the capitals, it's estimated more than 100,000 people marched. In Sydney, there were tens of thousands, in groups of 500, demonstrating a spread of anger they say will take real action to quell.
Wow.
In the heart of Sydney, they shared stories of heartbreak, suffering made worse by silence, and a justice system they feel is failing women.
There are two stages of perpetration. The first stage is the attack. The second stage is the silencing.
Tens of thousands stood side by side, demanding action and equality. Marie Barbaric is a proud Dunghutti woman and a survivor of sexual assault.
That window for justice is closed for me, so all I can hope for now is to make sure that it doesn't happen to another generation of women. As a 55-year-old woman, I carry 50 years of shame and humiliation in my heart. I'm angry. I'm angry!
That emotion echoed through the crowd. But it wasn't only with spoken words. Many of those here today have made their own placards, putting their perspective, frustrations, even their trauma on public display, so it can't be ignored. Taking off from Town Hall, the crowd streamed through the city streets, passing through Hyde Park on their way to Parliament. But upon their arrival, one woman was notably absent, the Premier.
For every woman that marches, there are thousands of others who support the cause, but who, because of work or family commitments, can't get to the march, and I'd put myself in that category.
But so many weren't in the same category. The crowd so large it had to be separated into groups of 500 to comply with COVID restrictions. The message amongst the crowd is clear. These women are sick of being silenced. They want to tell their stories, have their voices heard, and they want to be believed. From the rooftops, the size of the Sydney rally was clear, the same passion palpable across the country, with similar marches in Canberra, Adelaide, Brisbane and Melbourne, more than 100,000 people sharing a single message. Paris Martin for 10 News First.
Attorney General Christian Porter says he will take the stand to defend rape allegations dating from the 1980s. Today he announced he is suing the ABC and its star reporter Louise Milligan for defamation, setting up a legal battle bigger than anything in recent political history. Here's our National Affairs editor Hugh Riminton.
When Christian Porter denied allegations he raped a 16-year-old girl when he was a teenager himself, he ended by taking immediate leave to look after his mental health. But he has not been idle. Today, the Attorney General launched a defamation suit against the ABC and Four Corners reporter Louise Milligan. While her initial account did not name Christian Porter, his lawyers say he was easily identifiable, subjecting him to trial by media. They say even the ABC knew it.
It was by then an open secret in Canberra that Christian Porter was the minister accused.
After the death of the alleged victim caused police to close the case, the Prime Minister has repeatedly ruled out ordering an independent inquiry into the conduct of his Attorney General.
So you won't be ordering an inquiry on this?
I'm not the police force. But effectively, an inquiry is now coming.
It would be a welcome opportunity for there to be a proper legal proceeding rather than just a denial or trial by media.
The ABC will defend the action, making the federal court the stage for a legal drama with enormous stakes for all involved. If no one blinks first, it'll mean the court will examine what did or did not happen between two teenagers 33 years ago. Mr. Porter's troops are led by senior counsel Brett Walker, who argued George Pell's successful appeal in the High Court. But the former lawyer for the now deceased alleged victim says the issues are wider than this case.
There is a lot that needs to change in relation to how the system responds to sexual violence and to survivors.
Importantly, Australia could go into the next election with the questions about the Attorney General still not settled.
It would be surprising if it could be brought on and concluded with an outcome this year.
But by then, we might at least have heard his version under oath. Hugh Riminton for 10 News First.
In other news, mystery surrounds a breach of hotel quarantine in the city. Picked up COVID-19.